Have you ever felt like no matter what you do, your life just doesn't move forward? Like the world keeps running, but you're standing still, stuck between who you are and who you wish to become? If you've ever felt that way, then this story is for you. Because what if I told you that the smallest steps you take today could one day lead to the biggest change of your life? So before we begin, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Wally Tales, and stay until the end. You'll see how one man's tiny efforts turned his entire world around. It all began in a small town where a young man named Arif lived. He was 27, quiet, and worn out from life. Every day, Arif woke up before dawn to work in a mechanic's shop. His hands were always covered in grease, and his clothes smelled of oil and metal. He didn't hate his job, but he didn't love it either. It was survival, nothing more. At night, when he sat alone on the old wooden bench outside his house, he'd watch other people laugh, chase dreams, and build their futures. He'd whisper to himself, "Maybe I was meant for something small." That sentence became his habit, his excuse. And so, year after year, his life stayed the same, until one evening, something changed. An old man, perhaps in his 70s, came to the mechanic's shop. His car had broken down near the edge of town. While Arif fixed the engine, the man smiled warmly and said, "You look like a thinker, son. Tell me, what do you dream about?" Arif laughed awkwardly. "Dreams? I don't have time for that, sir. I just fix cars." The old man nodded but didn't let it go. "That's what I used to say when I was your age. But you know, small steps can move mountains. Even if you can't see the change today, keep walking." Arif didn't think much of it then. But that night, as he sat alone again, the words echoed in his mind. Small steps can move mountains. The next morning, he decided to change one small thing. He woke up 15 minutes earlier than usual, not for work, but for himself. He sat outside, watching the sunrise, letting the cold air fill his lungs. For the first time in years, he felt still, peaceful. The next day, he did it again. Then, he began listening to audiobooks while fixing cars, stories about people who started from nothing. Something inside him began to shift. It wasn't big or sudden, it was quiet, gentle, but steady. After a few weeks, he started learning how engines worked more deeply. He watched tutorials after work, took notes, and slowly improved. Customers began noticing. "You've got a real gift," one said. Another brought a friend and recommended him, but then came a setback. His boss noticed his growing confidence and didn't like it. "You're not here to act smart, Arif. Just fix what I tell you," he snapped. When Arif tried to explain that he just wanted to improve, his boss shouted, "If you think you can do better, go start your own shop." For the first time, Arif didn't stay silent. "Maybe I will," he said quietly. That night, fear filled him. He didn't have money, connections, or land. Starting something of his own felt impossible. But then, he remembered the old man's voice, "Small steps can move mountains." So he began. He took a notebook and started writing ideas, how he would treat customers differently, what kind of shop he'd like to build, even how he'd save. He began putting away a few rupees every week. Some days, it was just enough for tea, but he saved it anyway. A year passed. He had only enough to rent a small shed, buy a few tools, and paint a faded board that read, "Arif Auto Care." People laughed. "It's too small," they said. "No one will come." But Arif worked with a smile. Every customer, no matter how small the job, got full attention. He cleaned every car as if it were his own. Slowly, the laughter turned into respect. The shed became busy. 3 years later, the shed had grown into a real garage, with helpers, customers, and even a small office. The man who once thought he was meant for something small now ran one of the most trusted auto shops in town. One morning, a car pulled up. The door opened, and out stepped the same old man who had once told him those words. His hair was whiter now, his smile softer, but his eyes were still kind. Arif ran forward, tears forming in his eyes. "Sir, do you remember me? You once told me small steps can move mountains." The old man chuckled. "Ah, yes. Seems like you've built your mountain, son." Arif looked around, the workers laughing, the hum of tools, the smell of oil and success. He smiled. "No, sir," he said. "I'm still climbing. But I finally learned that the climb itself is what changes you." That day, Arif hung a new board in his office. It read, "Small steps. Big change." And whenever someone came to him feeling lost, he'd tell them his story, how he started by waking up 15 minutes earlier, how one tiny act led to another until his whole life transformed. So, if you're watching this right now thinking your dream is too far, too big, or too late, remember Arif. You don't need to leap, you just need to begin, because big changes never come all at once. They come quietly, through the little things you do every single day. So take that first step today. Maybe it's reading a page, writing a plan, saving a coin, or forgiving someone. It doesn't matter how small it is, just begin, and when you do, come back and tell your story, because who knows, maybe your small step will inspire someone else to take theirs. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Wali Tales, and share it with someone who needs hope today. Because sometimes, the smallest share can create the biggest change.